Hey there, welcome back once again to my garden. So we are picking up here where we left off at the end of the last video. I think this one will end up covering quite a span of time. But we are beginning things here with this beautiful purple hyacinth. These are new hyacinths that we planted in the fall. We planted the bulbs. There's another purple one hiding back here. And I'm so pleased with how well they're doing. So there's those two, and then there are some white ones over here, in addition to the white ones we had earlier in the season that you saw in the last video. And then what I'm really excited about are these tulips that are getting ready to bloom. None of them have opened yet, but you can see this really cool stripy foliage. I'll come over here so you can see a few more of them. Isn't that lovely? So these are brand new tulips that we also planted in the fall. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going to look like. I'm realizing I might sound a little out of breath because I was just doing some raking in the gardens further over, and then I thought, you know what, I should start the next garden tour video and capture these tulips before they open, so then you can see their full process of opening. So this is just a little start. For now, I think I'll keep trying to put the dates on these garden tour videos so that you can see them. Here are some of the hyacinths that are still left. The one thing I may have missed showing you is a larger number of daffodils, because the weather has been so wild here. Here's another hyacinth in front of this big rock. Because we had that really wild spell of heat, a heat spell where it was 86 degrees for a few days, and then we had a cold snap, and we had a hard freeze a couple of nights. Here's the bleeding heart in its next phase. So I had to cover up all of those tulips and hope that they didn't freeze, which fortunately they did not. So it's just been quite a journey, but what I ended up having to do was I ended up having to harvest most of the daffodils really quickly and just brought them in as bouquets so they wouldn't end up freezing. So that is the thing with the garden, and with spring especially. Sometimes you just have to adapt to what is happening. It's really cool to see the bleeding heart at this phase before they fully open up, when they're just little teeny tiny, little teeny tiny, and they'll sort of balloon out into their big heart-shaped blooms. And I'll show you that when that happens. For today, it's a beautiful day. It's in the 60s, it's sunny, you can hear the birds singing. Here's another one of these lovely tulips. And so, I'm enjoying the day out in the garden, and I'm glad to have you here with me. Big yellow snail says hello. And I feel like it's really fun to keep showing you the garlic as it keeps getting taller. So, there are all the garlics continuing to grow. And here are my chives, which are already getting little buds on them, which is so exciting. So they will bloom into their beautiful beautiful purple flowers. You can see I have been harvesting some here. I made kind of like a taco casserole and put some chives in it, and I've been using them for other things. They're just so lovely. And then you can see here in the yard a little bit, a few daffodils left of the ones that we have naturalized into the yard. So there are a few of those left. The forsythia is still going strong. And I gotta tell you, we have so many bunnies. So many bunnies that are living apparently under the forsythia and under the rhododendrons. I think there's like a whole bunny metropolis under there because we keep seeing them about, and Foxy is fascinated with them. And you can see a lot of birds coming in and out of the bushes as well. The rabbits are great babysitters for Foxy. We obviously don't let her, get near them and bother them when they're in the yard, but inside she will go up to the bedroom and lay on our bed and look out the bedroom window and watch the bunnies in the evenings, and they are good babysitters for her. So here's just a little glimpse at the herb garden. My lemon balm did get a little bit frozen. You can see some of it's kind of black there. I didn't think to cover it on the nights it was cold, so it got a little bit of a shock. I kind of wish I had harvested those first little leaves before that happened, but it will come back. It's very hardy, and that's something for me to know for the future. Always, always learning. And here's the sage. It's really coming along. And there are so many things I like to use sage for, so that is a nice bounty of the garden, and the lavender there in the background too. These are the last of the daffodils here in front of our little side porch off the kitchen. I did want to show you those. Like I said, they did have a good season, and I brought in some beautiful bouquets of them. And they were a nice start to the season. I'll probably harvest these last ones and bring them in for a last bouquet as well, because they've brought me a lot of joy throughout this early spring season. The breeze out right now is really nice. It's that lovely spring breeze. I feel like it's how spring is supposed to feel, where it's warm and cool at the same time. And that's really nice. You can hear my wind chime in the background. And here is something I'm super excited about. This is the bee balm that's just starting to come up, and I have it all along the edge of this garden here, one of my front gardens. And I just love bee balm. I love to use it to make tea. I make iced tea out of it in the summer and then dry it to have hot tea in the winter. I had a nice supply of it this past winter that we enjoyed the whole season. So I can really start harvesting some of it now. It is very bountiful, and there's no way I could really over harvest this. So that's exciting. And then back here in my most wild garden, which needs some weeding and some work, which we will get to. But we have the globe alliums, and I'm so excited. It has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buds that are going to bloom. Oh, there's a wasp on it right now. And I did cover this up when it froze just to be safe. And I'm so excited. So this will grow tall and get big, 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 big purple blossoms on it. But I wanted to show you what it looks like now, because it's an ornamental allium, but it's in the same family as garlic and chives and onions, and so it's kind of cool to see how it grows. And now I have actually sat down on the ground so that I And if you get down here on the ground level and, you know, get kind of a bug's life kind of view here, you can see that there are little bits of purple sprouting up all over my yard. These little wild violets, they just come up. You can see there's also a lot of sticks in our yard right now. And these little beauties come up all throughout the yard, and I love them. I've done a lot of different things with them throughout the years. You can make violet syrup with them, which will be a lovely purpley pink color. Justin and I have made a wild soda with them. I have made an infused oil with them. Violet leaf, oh, I bumped them there. Violet leaf is actually really good for breast health and can be used topically. So I have made that, and they're just a wonderful plant ally that really was there for me a few years ago when I was having a hard time when Justin was going through his mental health stuff. The violets brought me a lot of comfort and helped Justin and I in our healing journey. So they're a plant I just really love, and you know, they're a simple little wildflower. They might get overlooked sometimes, but they're really special to me. And I should add that they are very tasty and edible. You can eat both the flowers and the leaves. So as always, before you consume any plant, make sure you can make a positive identification and know that you really do know what you're dealing with. I want everyone to be safe. But if you happen to have wild violets like this growing in your yard and you know they haven't been sprayed with anything, they can make a lovely snack. And the leaves, see if I can get in on the leaves for you. This might get a little blurry. And of course there are other yard plants in here among the things. The leaves are heart-shaped. These kind of heart-shaped leaves. And they are quite good for you, so you can put them in salads, and they're a nice, wild, edible, and you can eat the flowers as well. You can use them to decorate, you know, baked goods or things like that. I dried some of them one year and made little all-natural sprinkles. They really are a very cool wild plant. And here we are a few days later, and you can see the tulips are starting to bloom. No, there's a little bird in the background there. I don't know if you can, is that a junco? Little friend. But here, I just wanted you to see the tulips in all their glory. These beautiful yellow ones. There's still a hyacinth there. We've got this yellow one and pink one. Here's Foxy. Oh, very delicately sniffing the flowers. She's being very good this morning. We just got back from our walk and the sun is coming out. So I wanted you to see this. I've been waiting and waiting for these tulips because since we're going to be going away for a couple of weeks, I was hoping I wouldn't miss them. There are these red ones here just getting ready to open. And so I think whichever ones are still budded like this, and I mean, I guess, you know, probably the ones that are in bloom if they're not too far past, I'm going to cut tomorrow morning and take them as a bouquet to my mom, because I think they'll fare fine on the drive. It's kind of almost a day's drive, but I think if I have them in water, they'll be fine. And it'll be fun to take them with us. Foxy, you're being so good this morning. She is really starting to grow up. She'll be 2 here in a couple of weeks, and, well, a few weeks, and she still has a lot of puppy energy in her, but she is starting to be a somewhat mature hound, and she's listening because, oh, you probably can't see it, but over there in the edge of the forsythia is the catbird. Oh, welcome, catbird. We heard the catbird for the first time yesterday, I think, and I love the catbird. Catbirds are kind of like a mockingbird in that they can mimic a bunch of other birds. Can I get you so you can see them? Not lose track of Foxy here. Pardon my camera work. Maybe we can get a little closer to the catbird. Oh, no, it's going deep down into the bush. Okay, I don't think you're going to be able to see the catbird, but you can hear it, and you can see the lovely forsythia in the later part of its bloom. But the catbird is like a mockingbird in that it can mimic a lot of other birds' songs. So it will do kind of what it's doing now, like go through a whole repertoire of songs. And then at other times, it just goes meh, meh. And that's why it's called a catbird, because it sounds like a cat. So here we are. First day of May today. Happy Beltane. Happy May Day. When I was a kid, we celebrated May Day at the school that I went to. Here, I'll take you back over to the tulips and the bleeding heart from this direction. And we would have like a musical thing. The kids would sing songs and we would do little acts and we would wrap a maypole. Yeah, good job, Fox. And it was a big part of my childhood. So I always think very fondly on May Day. The bleeding heart really is in its full lushness right now. It will, the blooms will fade and then the foliage will get really big and we'll have to cut it back. But for now, we've got some nice stuff going on. I'll get you over here so you can see the full range of tulips. There are still, a few more to come here, so if more open up later today or tomorrow, I will show them to you. They will open up more in the sun. Foxy, you're being so cute. Thank you for not eating them. They do open up more in the sun, so you can see, the inside of them and the contrasting colors. So I'll try to get a little footage of that later, but just in case, didn't want you to miss this tulipy moment. And here is a close-up. It's a little windy out right now, so you might have some wind noise, but a close-up of one of these yellow tulips now that it has fully opened into the sun. Aren't they cool? These are parrot tulips, so they have these cool, different colored edgings on them. Very, very pretty. And here we are a few days later and a few hundred miles away, showing you my tulips that I brought along with me to my parents' house, and they are still opening and coming to life. That was a success. It was a successful idea that I cut them the morning we left. They are a little floppy, some of them, but this one has opened beautifully so that I could bring my mom a beautiful bouquet for her to have as she is recovering from her surgery. So we're actually leaving today to go and do that. And so I wanted you to see these beautiful flowers. And now here we are yet again, a few more days later. These tulips just keep opening. And this one, this white one, is one that Justin and I thought was like a mutant or something, because the outside of the bud, the blossom, was all green like this, and it just looked like stem, and we were like, did something weird happen with this one? But no, it opened up into this beautiful, crinkly, white amazingness with these green accents. So you got that one and a red one that is opened up super frilly, and then all these beautiful orange ones. I think I told you that these are parrot tulips, and that's why they have these crinkly edges. So once again, I just wanted you to get to see these because they're pretty amazing, and my mom is now recovering here well at home from her surgery, and these tulips that I brought all the way from our home have really brought us all a lot of joy. And this is a house plant over here that I gave to my mom years and years ago, a succulent that is doing very well. So here we are continuing with the beauty of the garden. And here we are now, after a little bit more magical time travel, a little bit of bending the space-time continuum here. We are back in our garden, and several weeks have passed since the last footage that I recorded for you here. And you can see that this azalea is in fine form, as my niece has been calling them bazalias. This azalea is vibrant and so happy. So to kind of catch you up, oh, there's a spider. Spider on the azalea. Hi, pretty friend. We were away, as you know, for a couple of weeks away from our garden, and then we came back and had a couple of 90-degree days that were pretty wild, and then we had 3 or 4 days in a row of incredibly heavy rain and cold weather, where we had to turn our pellet stove back on, and we were cuddled up, and it seemed like it was fall instead of spring. And so now we have moved through those 2 weather changes, and we seem to be back in a more typical late May zone. So I will take you around and show you where we are right now. We have a beautiful hosta over there coming into bloom. This is in a still bee. These are some tiger lilies that are getting close. Now through this section here, we actually have 2 beautiful hanging baskets back here that my in-laws just gave to Justin and me for our anniversary. We need to hang those up. This whole section is where the tulips and daffodils were. They have now passed, although there were a couple of tulips still left when we got back from our trip after having been gone for 2 weeks, which was pretty wild that they lasted that long. These are all daylilies, which will soon be coming up. There's a little marigold that we planted. Here's my little worm, my little orange worm, which my niece saw and said, "Auntie, what's that snake?" It's not a snake, it's a worm. So this is what's going on over here. We had friends visiting us this week with their 2-year-old, and they helped me plant some annuals, including that marigold. We've got all these lovely daylilies, and then the upper yard here is just lush. And Justin always puts off mowing this section of the yard, this upper section, for as long as possible. We like to let it just be in a meadow state, and we have had a lot of bunnies. Maybe we'll get lucky and see a bunny. And so many pollinators who just love to be in this open meadow field kind of situation, so we let that last. There's irises, many irises way down here. We'll get down to seeing those. The bleeding heart is pretty much past now. Got a few of those beautiful blooms remaining. I love them. It's one of my favorite early spring. Oh, some of the petals are just going there in this breeze. One of my favorite early spring beauties. The pink rhododendron is in full glory out there. The white one has not yet bloomed. It's getting very close. So there actually might be a couple blooms opening there today. The forsythia has finished its bloom, but you can see it creates this beautiful wall, this beautiful hedge of bushes here along our bank. And this is where the bunnies like to live. And there are many birds' nests within them. So it's a nice little habitat that we have here. The last of a tulip. These will all be irises. So I'll just kind of take you along this side. More tiger lilies to come. This is the baptisia, which is coming up. We'll soon have big purple stalks of flowers. My herbs back here, the chives and the lemon balm. We'll get over there a little closer later on. And then this beautiful, beautiful grove of irises that we have with the snow on the mountain and among it. We have these beautiful purple ones. Irises are just so structurally gorgeous in my opinion. I think they're such a complex and beautiful flower. They have these little, I think those are called the beards, and then the petals that come down are the falls. And then I think these on the sides have a name too. I can't remember that right now. Oh, and there are some bees. Enjoying the irises here. Always some pollinators about. And then we have these white ones that are amazing re-blooming irises. Rose bush here, which hasn't come along yet, but look at these. These have spread immensely over the years, and they bloom once in the spring, and then they bloom again in the fall, and they smell heavenly, and they're mixed in with these lilies in the background. This little section of the garden has really become lovely. I can hear some chipmunks skittering over there. They are very happy and active right now. So this is kind of this side of things in the garden as we stand right now. You know, I guess while I'm here, I can go ahead and take you up and show you the herbs. Keep an eye out for a bunny. I'm actually really surprised there aren't any out here right now. They have been very, very happy as of late. Got the chives that are doing fantastic, and we'll probably harvest some of these flowers. I like to harvest the chive flowers and soak them in white vinegar in a jar and make chive vinegar. It makes the vinegar a very beautiful pinky purple color, and the flavor of the chives gets infused in the vinegar. And then you can keep that in the fridge for a really long time, and it's delicious to put in salad dressings or use anywhere you'd be using vinegar in a recipe and would like a chivy flavor. These are the garlics, which are doing really great. You can see the stalks are starting to get thicker. They're starting to harden the hard neck of the garlic. So these will keep growing up into garlic scapes. Got the lemon balm, and the lavender, and the sage, which is getting ready to bloom here. So, and these are wild daisies that I just let do their thing here because they're so beautiful. So, this is the upper yard. Got a dogwood tree over there. And things are just really looking lush after all that rain, for sure. And oh my goodness, friends, this is exciting. You are here with me as I am discovering the very first poppy in bloom. None of these were in bloom yesterday. You can see this is what they look like when they're getting ready to bloom. They have these big fuzzy buds which unfurl. They're kind of wild. I love them. And these spiky leaves which unfurl into these beautiful huge, bright, 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 light up your soul with their color blossoms. So hello, Poppy. It's so nice to see you. Oh, I'm thrilled. Wasn't sure if any would open today, but here you are, friend. And isn't the inside of that just fascinating? Like, I love the structure of this flower. It's so beautiful. So there'll be more of these to come. We've still got more purple irises back here, and a really tall lily that's coming up in the middle. This garden we didn't have a chance to weed before we left on our trip, and so we said, well, we'll just deal with it when we get back. But what has happened is that these ferns have just grown in a really lush way this year. And yeah, there's some grasses back there, some, wild grasses that are technically weeds, but they kind of look nice too. So I feel like this whole garden just sort of like filled itself in a very lush and attractive way. We've got these alliums. These are globe alliums. The little bee there as well, and I love these. I think they're so gorgeous. They are related to other alliums like onions and chives, as you can see from their appearance, but they are ornamental, not edible. And then all these beautiful ferns that we did not plant here. They just come up as part of the landscape. They're like ones that have escaped from the woods out into the yard. And this is all bee balm, which has not bloomed yet, but I have been harvesting the leaves to make delicious iced tea and to harvest to dry. So I'll have dry tea for the winter. Already working on that. The juniper bush and the lamb's ear over here, the fuzzy, fuzzy lamb's ear. Just so nice. Nice and fuzzy. Nice and fuzzy, nice and fuzzy, nice and fuzzy, nice and fuzzy. And then the phlox, which is coming up. And here we dug up the Adam's needle yucca, which always gets a little overwhelming. So we always dig it out and separate it. And planted some marigolds in here, which are looking a little worse for wear right now because they do need to get some more sun, which they will be getting. And that will fill out this space. They will definitely bush out and grow throughout the season, and by fall we'll have a nice big clump of marigolds there. So here's kind of what we've got going on at this moment in the garden, and now that we're home, I'll be able to keep you more up to date as things develop. Glad you can be here with me. I always love sharing the seasonal movement of the garden with all of you. I'll come back over here to the poppy because it is pretty dramatic. Poppy, 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 poppy. Sweet bun bun. We've left this upper part of the yard very meadowy. And now we're out here on the deck. Foxy is chillaxing over there. Doing a great job. And I wanted to show you what I've got going on out here. So I've got this large pot, which used to have a giant bird of paradise house plant in it years ago, and it's had various things over the years. This year, it's got some natural moss going in there, which I just let do its thing, but I planted all these sunflower seeds. So I'm really excited that they're coming up. So we'll have a nice big pot of sunflowers, and maybe I will transfer some of them into other places in the yard, but they seem to be doing well. And then we've got the chamomile coming up here. This is the 4th year, I think, third or fourth year that this has come up again from seed, that it has just reseeded itself. So that is exciting, and I will harvest that for tea once it flowers. And then in this big planter, oh, look how sweet Foxy's being. Good girl, poo, poo, poo. Pet her head. She's being very good. I have this big planter here, and these are all transplants. I did buy these all as plants from the nursery at the same farm where we get our farm share vegetables. So we've got rosemary, lemon thyme, basil, tarragon, parsley, and oregano. And then in these 3 pots, I've got cilantro seeds, which have not sprouted yet. Still waiting for those. Got some spearmint down here that came from my aunt's house in West Virginia. I'm kind of getting that going there. And then we've got this little basil bush basil, which is so adorable and looks like a little tree of basil. I've never had one of those before, so I had to get that on the scene. And then here we've got some Tulsi basil that also came back from seed with a random chamomile volunteer in there. Then these are all seeds I planted. We've got lemon balm coming up. I've got lemon balm in my perennial herb garden, but I wanted to start some more here, so I would have it conveniently close by. And then maybe I'll transplant this out into the yard somewhere else because it does so well as a perennial. Got nasturtium starting here, and then some lemon balm. Oh wait, this is actually the lemon basil. I take that back. This is lemon basil. This is lemon balm, which is not sprouted yet, so hopefully it shall. And then these are some herbs I got yesterday. Today is my birthday. Today, happy birthday to me. And yesterday we went out to lunch at a food truck that we like that has a nursery and greenhouse right beside it. So I didn't really need any other plants, but because I was there, I did look and picked up a few things. This is a lemon basil plant, just because I love the lemon basil, so I decided to get an extra one of those. This is a pineapple sage herb, which is really yummy, and I'm excited to try in tea. I think that will be quite good. These are some portulaca, some moss roses. Haven't had any of these in a few years, and I thought it would be fun to have a pot of them on the porch. They will get beautiful, colorful blooms. And then this little shade plant, I can't remember what this is called. What are these called? Hypostas, Lottie Dottie Pink Hypostas. But I just love these little, it's kind of a shade plant. And I love this speckly foliage plant. People used to have these when I was a kid. Foxy, don't eat the herbs. Don't eat the herbs. Don't eat the pineapple sage. I mean, it's fine for her, but I don't want you to eat it all. So this is the current state of the porch. Got a couple geraniums going, one from last year and then one from the nursery down there. And then a few more sunflowers in these pots up here, just starting to show. So we've got a good showing out here at the beginning of the season for our deck pot plants. Love being able to just come out here and grab a few herbs while I'm cooking. Really is a lovely feeling of abundance. Oh, Foxy's getting playful, so maybe time to play ball in the yard. And we have now officially moved into June. So I just wanted to do one more little segment of this to wrap up this garden video, which has gone from the end of April through May. We still have this lovely line of beauties here. I did want to show you an update from the other day, which is that the Baptisia is coming into bloom. My dear friend Baptisia. I love how this flower opens. I love that it opens kind of from the bottom up. So the flower is low down on the stalk, open, and then a little by little it opens and opens and opens and opens all the way to the top. These are beautiful in bouquets, so I'll definitely be gathering some of them for that purpose. I will show them again in the next video when they are a little more fully lush, but I think they look beautiful in this phase. This is a plant that I love in all of its stages. I love its leaves, I love its blooms, and I love the seed pods it develops in the fall. It's a beautiful three-season plant. And the rhododendrons are just going to town up there. They're happy as can be. And Justin is actually going to mow some of this. So I'll give you one more look at meadow yard. We will leave, those daisies will stay. We'll leave some of the clover over here, but mostly because of ticks, we do need to do a little bit of mowing, but things will still be nice and lush. The irises just keep going and going and going. There's so many different kinds that we have. These purple ones, the white ones. There are these two over here on the other side that are two of my favorites because these smell like grape. They smell like grape candy and are so delicious, truly. It's such a nostalgic, lovely smell. These irises have just brought us so much joy and continue to. When we were bringing home irises from my aunt's garden and my mom's garden, we dug up irises and brought them home from West Virginia to plant here. Those are down in a lower garden and they've already passed, but they'll come back next year. But we had this bucket in the car with us full of irises, some of which were still blooming, and it just made the whole car smell like irises the whole trip home, which was pretty amazing. Talk about a car freshener. It was fantastic and, not fake and weird like most car fresheners are. So, these beautiful white irises, what can I say? They're just pretty breathtaking. And down here in our lower yard, I wanted to show you something exciting. We have these milkweeds growing. And Justin planted these. We collected seeds from milkweed that is growing very prolifically at my sister's house. And so 2 years ago, Justin collected some of the seeds and planted them down here in the yard. And we had last summer, like maybe, 3 or 4 came up. And now this year, we have a whole bunch. We have these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm making it blurry. But we have this whole patch of them here. And of course, milkweed is what monarch caterpillars eat. So having milkweed is good to support the monarch butterfly population. So I'm really excited that we have this growing and it'll keep spreading, and then we'll have a nice patch here to feed the caterpillars. And oh, look, it's starting to bloom there. So haven't seen any caterpillars on it yet, but we're hoping that maybe this will attract them. It's a beautiful plant. I love having it. And this is a beautiful red peony. I can't remember the name of this variety, but it's different from a lot of other peonies in that it has this central part. A lot of times peonies are roughly all the way through the center. They don't really have a center flower like that. And these are just really unique. So I wanted to show you this one. This one's mostly through blooming. It's down here in our lower yard. Here's one that is still to come to open. And our other peony, which is a fuchsia peony, this is here by our wood pile where we keep our firewood for our campfire. Our other fuchsia peony, piney, as we say in West Virginia, will be coming into bloom soon, but I wanted to show you this one before it passed. And there are ants on this bloom. I'll tell you a cute little story about Justin, that when he was a small child, he was at the home of his godparents, and he saw the peony bush, and he saw that all the buds were covered in ants. And if you didn't know, it's because the ants help open up the buds. They, of course, are getting some of the lovely nectar of the flower. I guess that's the right word. And as they do so, walking around on it helps the buds to open. But when Justin was little, he thought that ants were eating the flowers, and he thought that they needed to be protected. So he pulled off all of the buds of the peony and thought he was doing a good deed. And much credit to his godmother, who is a lovely woman who did not, flip out because her peony was ruined, but was very compassionate to Justin and helped him understand what was truly going on there. But that's a story that has been told in Justin's family for many years and is very sweet. The story of the peonies. And this is the other peony I was talking about. This will burst forth into these really bright fuchsia blooms, but for right now I think they look really cool when they have not opened yet, when they're just in these cool ball-shaped buds. And as you can see, this one also has a lot of ants crawling all over it, being helpful. So that's a cool little fact about how one of the many ways that insects and plants help each other. And these are my green beans. Hey, beans. My green beans that I planted in this tub here next to our kitchen door. And I've planted beans in here the last few years because it's so nice to just be able to come out and harvest a few beans. And so some of them over here didn't come up as much. I planted it pretty full, hoping I'd get a good few sproutlings going. So all of these are looking pretty good, and maybe we'll get a few more, and I'll continue to show them to you as they grow. But you can see there's how the little bean seed split apart, and the plant begins to grow from it. Pretty amazing. Welcome, little beans. And the poppies are popping. There are quite a few more since I showed you the other day. So I wanted to give you one more glimpse at them and all their cool stages. They really are a highlight of the season with their super bright blooms. And I think this is a good place to wrap up this tour. So thanks for being with me over these last weeks, and there will still be more to come in the garden for sure. But for now, take good care of yourself, rest well, and I will see you again soon. We'll fade out with these beautiful alliums. Take care, friends.